Hello again. This time I was thinking of talking about something which is kind of unusual, uncommon, but at the same time very intriguing to me. And I like to do the videos that are very intriguing to me and hope you will enjoy the video. More and more transplants are being performed nowadays. I'm sure all of you know someone who at least had a renal transplant. The renal transplants are more common than any other transplant is because the kidneys can be transferred from cadaver, or even a live person can donate one kidney since we all have two kidneys. Contrast to that, the liver transplant, the lung transplant, and heart transplant are not likely to occur when somebody is alive. Even people have tried to do pancreatic transplants. So the skin transplant is very common. Renal transplant is also very common, or at least not uncommon. But relative to that, the heart and the lung transplants are rather less common. Liver is a solid organ. My interest kind of arose because I read an article which stated that somebody who had a heart transplant, after which they were having a recurring dream, and that in that dream they were in a car accident and hurt on one particular side of the body. The patient in this case traced the donor, of course, through the hospital, and found out that the person who gave the heart, or the donor, was from Seattle, Washington. And the story was that it was the pre-adolescent person was running through the alleys and then was hit by a car. The pain and the accident that this particular person was suffering after the heart transplant was pretty much exactly the same as the pre-adolescent kid had sustained before the heart transplant occurred. Now, this is kind of an uncommon, because how can heart transplant transfer the memory of the accident? Is there something in the heart that transplants the memory to the recipient, even though our conventional thinking is that the memory is stored in the brain, probably in the hippocampus area and other areas? So, intriguingly enough, I started looking at it and then realized that even a book has been written, and there are many other cases which have been described in literature, which are convincing enough, or at least I feel convinced, that there is something more to the memory than just being stored in the brain or hippocampus. There are about 140,000 transplants which were done, I think 2021 or 20. 82,000 heart transplants have been done. So the question is the memory is in these organs, or it is only in the heart, or whether it is just a fake thing? There was a lady named Claire Sylvia who had written the book several years ago after she received a heart transplant. And right after the heart transplant was received, when she was discharged from the hospital, the story is that she went to eat the Kentucky Fried Chicken nuggets. And in the past, she had never liked them. She was very health conscious, never ate fried food. And her total test was altered after the heart transplant. Now, one might say that, well, people change, or one might say could be related to the medicines, the stress, the anxiety, etc., associated with the transplant itself could alter it. So I looked at some of the studies. There was another one. I'm just describing a couple of cases. There are more than a couple of cases that I've come across in the literature. So there was this 5-year-old kid who received a transplant from a 3-year-old kid. Now think about it. A 5-year-old kid received a transplant from a 3-year-old kid. The 5-year-old kid stated that he knew the kid that died. He was half my age, that's how he stated. And he said he loved the Power Rangers and was trying to reach one of the toys when he fell and died or had an accident. When actually this was traced back, the 3-year-old kid did try to reach a Power Ranger toy, which was on the window, and fell off the, I think, second story window. And then, of course, his heart was transferred to this 5-year-old kid. Now, how could a 5-year-old kid know this? Now, again, the possibility does exist that he may be sleeping, he may be under anesthesia or thinking that he was there. Somebody else might be talking about the 3-year-old kid. That's also possible, but he knew that, and when the parents stressed it, they found out that yes, 3-year-old kid had died trying to get a Power Ranger Power Ranger toy, and then fell off. In 2022, there was a study published. There are several studies, Swedish study, Canadian studies, and many other, and not all of them agree with this. But it is interesting that they looked at 67 different recipients of transplant, and this was through advertising, Facebook, etc. Out of which everybody was given a 61 questions, and 47 people completed it, and then 23 of them were heart transplant, 24 were other organ transplants. And it was intriguing that majority of them had some changes after the transplant. Some of them were not statistically significant when they compared with the heart. So physical attribute change occurred in 95% of the people that received the transplant. Now, there was an overall, if you take out the physical attribute and talk about different things, there were several changes which include love or dislike for food, music, art, sex, recreation, and even career or career changes. So it is amazing to me that people that received the heart transplant had slightly higher these kind of changes in their personality, in their physical attribute, in their likings, in their tests, etc., than the solid organ transplant. Few theories have come up as to how this memory can be transferred. There are 4 or 5 different types of memories that people are talking about. One is called apogenic. Second one is the RNA. Next is the DNA. Then cellular and protein. So we have some network of the nerves in the heart, and apparently it must be storing independently some of the memories. The apogenic memory is a very complex thing. This is a cellular memory which is transferred from one cell to the daughter cell. If you think about the single cell we are all born with after the sperm fertilizes the ovum, and the cellular memory, when this cell becomes multiplies, which is called a totipotent cell and then pluripotent cell, and then it differentiates into different organs. So all different cells in our body come from the same single cell. But the skin cell never produces liver cell, nor does the liver cell ever produces lung cell. So this particular type of cellular memory, where the cell remembers now that it has become a liver cell or a skin cell and produces only that cell, is probably the cellular memory, and it transferred in a different way. Then, of course, the RNA and the DNA are transferred. The protein memory could be related to our globulins in our blood. They remember the bacteria and the antibodies are produced. The antibodies kill the bacteria. So these are different types of memories which are not stored in the brain but at the cellular level, nuclear level, humoral level, etc. To me, this is very intriguing and impressive and interesting. Hope more studies are done to really see if a actually physical memory, recognizing people, having a certain liking for taste or a food or a sport or a music, is actually transferred through heart transplant. Again, we have limited data and limited studies. I hope you like this video and subscribe to it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.